Hi, welcome to USAA. I am Mary Stork. I am the General Manager of the Retirement Solutions Group here at USAA and have the privilege of leading a team that helps our members achieve their retirement goals. I'm joined today by several of my fabulous colleagues. Cheryl Wilson is an advice director at USAA. She is a certified financial planner and has been at USAA for about 15 years and in the industry for about 25 years. Joe Ocha is one of our retirement specialists. He has been at USAA for about 13 years, but brings over 39 years of experience from the industry to USAA. He has the Retirement Income Certified Professional designation, as well as he is a chartered retirement planning counselor. And then lastly, we're joined by Thomas Sovereign, who has been with USAA for about 6 years and is a product management director leading the development of our annuity products. So he is really helping to create the products that help our members achieve their retirement dreams. And he is proud to say that he and his family has over 100 years of USAA membership behind them. This webinar is one of the many benefits of being a USAA member. Thousands of our members have participated in these webinars thus far, and we are really excited to have all of you with us today. This is an important part of planning and living securely in retirement. We're excited to have you with us. And before we begin, let me start with a couple of housekeeping items. We've already had one question on this, so I'll confirm for everyone else as well. We will email a link to a recording for this as soon as we are done with this webinar. So for those of you, if you know people that registered and didn't get a chance to join us today, they are able to watch a replay. Or if you'd like to watch a replay, you'll get a link to the recording and be able to do that going forward. We're going to talk for about a half an hour today, and then we're going to move into our Q&A session. So be thinking about what questions you might have that you want to ask. You're able to put those questions in the Q&A function that's there in Zoom anytime during the webinar. And we actually are going to have specialists that are monitoring that Q&A throughout the webinar who are going to try to answer every single question. I will say if the answer to your question includes a message to call us, it's typically because the answer requires more information than what we could put into a chat, and it'd be easier to deliver it in a conversation. Lastly, just a reminder, please don't include any personal or sensitive information in your questions in that Q&A. Okay, let's get to the topic at hand. Social Security is one of the most popular topics among our members, and we receive lots of calls, get lots of questions, and have lots of conversations about it within our retirement income team. In today's webinar, we're going to start by reviewing some important Social Security fundamentals, kind of the basics. We're going to show off our new Social Security calculator. Very excited to share that with you. And we're going to finish with an overview of some strategies on how you can claim your Social Security by focusing on not only maximizing your Social Security benefits, but also retiring when you want to retire. How do you balance those two? Okay, so first, before we dive into that, I'm going to give you a sneak peek into one of our most important USAA traditions. And that is starting each one of our meetings at USAA with a USAA mission moment. As you can see here in front of you, this is our USAA mission. And I would be willing to bet, I know from firsthand, I have been at USAA myself for 17 years, that most of our employees can actually recite this mission. It's a tradition at USAA to start each one of our meetings with a personal connection to this mission. And really the reason we do that is to remind us all why we're here. So sometimes it's a connection that might be my family's story of military history. It might be my connection to the military community and the impact that my role at USAA has had on that military community. So let's start out. I'm going to hand this off to Joe, and Joe is going to share with us his mission moment to start our webinar. Joe.
Thank you, Mary. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joe Ochoa. I'm one of the retirement income specialists here at USAA, and I wanted to thank everyone for joining us and allowing me to share my mission moment with you. I wanted to begin by saying my mission moment began in August of 2011. When I was hired by USAA as an investment rep. When I picked up my badge the first day, I'd already been a member of USAA for over 20 years. Now, new hires at USAA go through a program where a significant amount of time is devoted to learning about USAA's culture and mission. During the session, I was skeptical while the facilitator had us taking turns reading parts of the mission out loud. However, while waiting for my turn, I took a moment to read and analyze what was on the slide, and something stood out for me. It was the part about helping our members achieve financial security. Now, that was very important to me. After orientation, I went to work answering the phones, working to help facilitate the financial security of our members, regardless of their stage of life or career. Now, as part of the retirement income team, I'm thrilled to help facilitate the financial security of our members during one of the most anticipated life and career events, retirements. But like most life events, thinking about retirement brings a mix of excitement and uncertainty. For example, I recently worked with a couple who've been married for over 40 years, raised 3 children, and were looking forward to spending time with their 4 grandchildren in 3 different states. They were excited and proud of all they had accomplished, but they were also anxious and nervous. They were concerned about a future without the steady, reliable income that had enabled them to raise and educate 3 children and afford a comfortable lifestyle. They were nervous about the impact of market volatility on their retirement savings and whether their savings would last. They weren't even sure how Social Security and Medicare worked. I'm happy to say that we were able to help the members develop a plan to provide the secure income they needed to maintain their lifestyle in retirement, as well as protect and grow their savings. I know for certain they're looking forward to road trips and visits from the grandkids without the worries they had before. To close, I'm happy to acknowledge that my initial reaction to USA's mission statement was wrong all those years ago. It's not just a catchy slogan on a PowerPoint, but it's something I see manifest by everyone every day. And it's something that I get to be part of when helping members with planning to live their best life in retirement. Thank you for your time and allowing me to share my mission moment with you.
Joe, thank you so much for your over 30 years of membership and for all that you do for our members each and every day. Mary said you were going to share a few fundamentals about Social Security. What have you got for us?
Okay, so let's begin with some key information that everyone needs to understand about Social Security. First, it's important to know that Social Security annual benefits increase the longer you wait to claim. The youngest that you can claim Social Security is 62. However, your annual benefits will be reduced if you claim them at this age. If you turn 62 in 2024, your annual benefits would be about 30% lower than they would be at your full retirement age of 67. Let me reiterate that. Your annual benefits will be larger if you wait to claim them till your full retirement age. And even better, if you wait until age 70, then you'll receive the maximum amount of annual benefits that you're entitled to. Now, waiting to claim until after age 70 will not increase your benefits any further. So as you can see, having a clear understanding of your full retirement age is very important. The 1983 overhaul of Social Security gradually raised the full retirement age from 65 to 67. The chart that you see here comes from the Social Security Administration, and it shows the different full retirement ages depending upon the year that you were born. For most people, they're either already at full retirement age or will have a full retirement age of 67. However, if you were born in 1958 or 1959, your full retirement age will be 66 and a few months.
All right, thank you for reviewing those basic facts. A question that I know you hear a lot, we see a lot in the media is Social Security going to run out?
Absolutely. That's one of the most common questions that we get about Social Security is it going to run out of money? Well, here's some important details about the Social Security system. Social Security benefits are fully funded until 2033. Now, does that mean that Social Security is going to run out in 2033? No. Payments come from 2 sources, the trust fund and current payroll taxes. Payroll taxes will continue. So if nothing else was done, those taxes would continue to support 77% of benefit payments. In other words, a $1,000 benefit would be reduced to about $777. But 2033 is over 10 years away, almost 10 years away anyway, and many proposals are out there to resolve the gap. The key takeaway here is there's a possibility that benefits may be reduced in the future. But if no action is taken, the majority of benefits will continue. USAA recommends that you should have a plan that assumes Social Security will continue to be fully funded, but also have a backup plan for receiving 77% of your benefits.
Thanks, Joe, for sharing that perspective. We always hear that Social Security is such an important decision. Why is that?
Well, the reason for that boils down to how people fund their retirement. According to the Social Security Administration, a substantial portion of most people's retirement income comes from Social Security. 53% of married couples and 74% of unmarried persons receive more than half of their retirement income from Social Security. By claiming early, you could be leaving your hard-earned benefits on the table. Approximately 1/3 of Americans claim their benefits at their earliest eligible age, potentially losing out on a lifetime of higher Social Security benefits. Now, the decision on when to claim Social Security benefits is one of the most critical and potentially irrevocable decisions that retirees can make. It's also very personal. It can even be emotional. Our advice is to review many different scenarios and seek out professional guidance to understand the best decision for you. Mary, I think we have a poll question coming up, don't we?
We sure do. Okay, now it's time for some participation. At what age would you receive the maximum Social Security monthly benefit? You're able to enter in your answer right there on the screen. I'm gonna give you guys a few minutes. And Joe just told you, so if you were paying attention, I think we're gonna get some good grades in this class. Okay, getting some good responses in there. All right, survey says the answer is 70. Nice job, everybody. Okay. We have, as I mentioned earlier, we have an exciting new calculator at USAA designed to help you identify your personal needs when it comes to claiming Social Security. And it allows you to see different scenarios based on your age and financial situation. As Joe said, it really depends on a lot of factors within your own personal situation, what option works best for you. Cheryl, would you show us how this calculator works?
Absolutely, Mary. And before I get into that demo, I want to make sure that everyone understands the different definitions and terms. So when you look at the calculator, you'll see in that green box your total lifetime benefits. And that means based on the start date, your retirement date, claim age, I'm going to define all of those. What do we expect to have as your total lifetime benefit? The next piece that's really important to understand the definition of is retirement age. This means the age that you plan to stop working. And then we have the retirement planning age. That's kind of a nice way to say life expectancy. So that's the age that we're going to plan for that you'll need retirement income. And then finally, your claiming age. That's when you're actually going to begin your Social Security benefits. Sometimes your retirement age and your claiming age are going to be the same, but it's entirely possible to retire and claim Social Security later, or conversely, to claim Social Security and then retire at a later age. So let's get into the demo. Our first example is going to be for a single individual. And on this first page of the calculator, you'll be entering your current annual employment income. Remember to only include income sources where Social Security was withheld. So in other words, your paycheck from your job, but don't include any income that does not have Social Security withheld, maybe rental income, investment income, some pension income if you've retired from the military, but are still working in a civilian role. Our calculator is going to assume that you had a relatively similar income throughout your work history. So the benefit estimate may not be as accurate if there was a period of time that you were not in the workforce, or you worked in a job that was not covered by Social Security, or if you had big changes in your income from year to year throughout your work history. So let's get started with Brian. He has an annual income of 80, and because he's already a USAA member, we know that he's 61. The calculator is going to use that income to estimate the Social Security benefits that you're entitled to over your lifetime. It's going to be really dependent on those two important pieces. So if we move back and forth, if Brian is retiring at age 62 and select 65 instead, we can see that that total lifetime benefit amount automatically changes. Next, you're going to need to enter your retirement planning age. That's how long you expect to live. You can see a little pointer that will indicate an average planning age or life expectancy based on your age and gender, but you can adjust that, and we can see if we move it to 87 or increase it to 97, that again, Brian's lifetime benefits are going to change. But he's got average health for his age and gender, so we're going to use the age provided by the calculator, which gives him a lifetime benefit of $1,024,461. On the right-hand side of the screen, you can see that if he were to claim Social Security benefits at age 70, which shows the maximum benefits that he would receive, along with the amount from both a monthly perspective and an annual perspective. In this case, we can see that Brian's monthly benefit would be about $3,700. So once you're satisfied with your retirement age and your planning age, we can go ahead and move forward, click on next to the next screen. And now we can start to play with some scenarios. On this screen, you see the slider that you can adjust when you are going to claim your benefits. It's going to start at 62, because that's the earliest that most people can begin claiming Social Security benefits. And it's going to increase all the way up to age 70. So we can adjust that slider back and forth to see how, if Brian selects Social Security at different ages, how would that impact his benefit? Since he's planning on retiring at age 62, if we move that slider bar all the way down to 62, it would reduce his benefits from over $1 million to about $780,000. For Brian, his total income benefits would be about $250,000 less if he did not maximize the Social Security benefits, and his monthly benefit would drop from $3,700 to about $2,100. So while the natural tendency is often to begin replacing employment income with Social Security income that moment that you retire, it can leave a significant lifetime gap in overall retirement income. But you're probably thinking what a lot of our members think, and what Brian is thinking is, all right, but I want to retire at 60 and I'd like to get those maximum benefits. So how can I accomplish both of those objectives? Well, that's exactly what Joe's going to talk about later in our next section of the webinar. But before that, let's continue this demo with our second scenario. All right, so our second scenario includes a married couple. Married couples should focus on making a joint decision about Social Security as opposed to two separate individual decisions. So just like Brian, they'll need to enter the annual employment income for each person. In some cases, we may only have one spouse that's working. If that's the case, just go ahead and enter 0 for the other spouse. You'll also need to indicate if both are eligible for Social Security benefits. When we think about eligibility, spousal benefits are an important component of eligibility. So even if one spouse is not working, if they're eligible to receive benefits from their spouse, we want to indicate that they're eligible. Not being eligible includes situations where you didn't pay into Social Security, like some railroad employees, some school districts or hospitals, or other unique situations. For our married couple, David's income is $80,000 and Michelle's is $75,000. Since they are both USAA members, the calculator knows that David is 61 and Michelle is 57. We're going to click next to see David and Michelle's lifetime benefits. When we look at that total lifetime benefit, we're going to be adding the couple's benefits together. For David and Michelle, their combined total benefits are about $2.1 million. That's maybe much higher than you would expect, and you might be surprised at that $2.1 million. I have to tell you, you're not alone if you are surprised. That's one of the reasons why Social Security is so important in your retirement income plan. So again, each member needs to indicate their retirement age. And having different retirement ages is really common, especially if there's an age difference between the couple. In our scenario, David wants to retire at 65 and Michelle wants to retire at 63. Because average life expectancy is higher for women than men, you'll see that the pointer is on 94 for Michelle and 92 for David. And based on David's family history, he's going to change his retirement planning age to 87. As you can see, automatically the total lifetime benefit updates, and it's about 1.9 million. The calculator will show the age that each person should begin their benefits in order to maximize that amount. For David, it's 70, and for Michelle, it's 69. Now that we're satisfied with those numbers, let's go to the next screen, and now we can begin our scenario planning. The rule of thumb for couples is that the higher earner should maximize his or her benefit by beginning those benefits at age 70, regardless of their own life expectancy. It may not always be possible, but it should at least be considered. But since David is the higher earner, we're going to follow that rule of thumb and leave his benefit at age 70. But let's see what happens once we move Michelle's benefit down from 69 to 63. It's reduced their lifetime benefit, not by a great deal, but about $58,000. The reason for this rule of thumb is that couples also need to consider survivor benefits. When one spouse passes away, the other spouse is typically entitled to receive survivor benefits. So the higher of the two benefits get paid out to the survivor. So even if the higher earner, in this case, David, has a shorter life expectancy because of his own health and family history, he should consider delaying so that he can leave that legacy of a higher benefit for his wife. All right, so we're going to forget about that rule of thumb. David and Michelle are convinced that they want to take their benefits right when they retire. So let's see what happens. We've moved those sliders down. And what we can see now is that they're giving up about $290,000 by claiming at their retirement age. And another way to think about that is, do you have another way to add $290,000 to your retirement nest egg? Or might it make sense to follow the rule of thumb? Your Social Security benefits are heavily dependent on your retirement age, your life expectancy, and when you're planning to claim it. So we really encourage you to access the calculator, play around with those different scenarios, and see what works best for you. So let's recap. The maximum Social Security benefits that David and Michelle are entitled to is about 1.9. If they take their retirement benefits at their retirement ages, they'll be giving up about $290,000. Claiming Social Security right when they plan to retire will not maximize their benefits. So Joe, what can they do to retire when they want and still maximize Social Security?
Okay, so let's begin by reviewing some of the details from our two calculator scenarios. Let's start with Brian. He wants to retire at 62. The calculator showed that he would maximize his Social Security benefits by claiming at age 70. And if he decided to claim Social Security as retirement age of 62, he'd potentially be giving up about $245,000 worth of benefits. In the other scenario, David wants to retire at 65 and his wife Michelle wants to retire at 63. Now, as we saw, David would maximize his benefits by claiming at age 70, while Michelle would maximize hers at 69. If both of them decided to claim Social Security at their respective retirement ages of 65 and 63, they would potentially be giving up collectively about $290,000. So does this mean that Brian or David and Michelle have to keep working until age 70 in order to maximize their Social Security benefits? Absolutely not. Let's look at a claiming strategy that may allow you to maximize your benefits and still retire when you want. Now, here at USAA, we believe our members should use a very balanced approach when it comes to planning for living their best life in retirement. It includes having enough guaranteed income or secured income to cover their essential expenses in retirement, keeping something allocated for growth, using an approach that's appropriate for your goals, your style, and the time horizon in order to help meet future needs. And finally, to make sure that your plan is protected against some of the common risks that may come up in retirement, such as health concerns, the need for long-term care, just different emergencies, or the possible death of a loved one. So let's go back to Brian, where he wants to retire at 62 and maximize his benefits by claiming at age 70. Brian would begin by determining his expenses. For example, we'd calculate what are his essential expenses, such as housing, food, utilities, transportation, and all the other 21st century necessities like phones, internet, and insurance. But we also want to make sure we don't overlook the not so obvious things like co-pays, HOA dues, travel, and charitable contributions. Next, he should write down all of his guaranteed or secure income sources besides Social Security. Now, this could be a civilian or military pension, maybe part-time income, or other income from things like rental property or disability. We're referring to income that's free from any market risk or volatility. Now, many employers have shifted away from offering pensions in favor of 401ks. Therefore, Social Security might be the only source of guaranteed retirement income for Brian or a lot of other workers. Lastly, he needs to add up all of his different retirement savings. That could be things like 401ks, IRAs, investments like stocks, bonds, mutual funds, cash, or anything else that he has earmarked for retirement. Once Brian has that information, he can use that to determine his retirement income gap. He would compare his actual retirement expenses to his income without Social Security to calculate that annual gap. Now, keep in mind, he would need this amount of income every year until he decides to claim Social Security. Now, since Brian wants to retire at 62 and maximize his Social Security benefit at age 70, that will be 8 years worth of income. Now, if Brian has retirement savings, he could consider using those to close his retirement income gap. And there are two approaches that he could use. One would be to leave his retirement savings where they are and take withdrawals to provide himself income. This is typically done on an annual basis. But keep in mind, if Brian has stocks or 401ks or IRAs that are invested in the market, his retirement savings is still exposed to stock market volatility. Another solution Brian could consider is to convert a portion of his retirement savings into guaranteed income using an annuity. He could do this for a specific number of years until he claims Social Security. Purchasing an annuity also removes any stock market risk from those funds. So the key takeaway is, if you have enough retirement savings, it may make sense to use it to provide yourself income so that you can maximize your Social Security benefits. If you're interested in converting a portion of your retirement savings into a guaranteed annuity, we can help you do that here at USAA. An income annuity, also called an immediate annuity, can help provide the income that you need so that you can delay Social Security, in addition to reducing retirement risk and taking care of loved ones. Let's take a look at a short educational video to learn more.
You did the smart thing by putting away money all your life. But now that you're nearing retirement, you may be wondering how to make the best use of your hard-earned cash. Whether you're getting ready to retire or already enjoying retirement, a USAA Single Premium Immediate Annuity, or SPIA, may be the right choice for you. A USAA SPIA works like a paycheck. You pay in a lump sum, and in return, you get a series of guaranteed payments for life, for a set period, or both. No matter how long you live, you can receive income to support you and your loved ones. After you're gone, remaining payments, if any, will pass down to your beneficiaries. A USAA SPIA can add to other retirement income such as Social Security or pensions. You can spend on what you want when you want. It can be an efficient way to generate income, and with USAA's competitive rates, you can make the most of your hard-earned retirement savings. Since a USAA SPIA is an insurance product and not an investment, you don't have to worry about losing your money or taking portfolio withdrawals during market downturns. Start living your best retirement with a USAA SPIA. To get advice you can count on, speak to a USAA Retirement Income Specialist today.
Okay, so far we focused our claiming strategy of delaying claiming and retiring when you want, but there are other strategies to consider. Let's talk about those three of the other common strategies that people sometimes use. One is to claim early and retire. Now, generally that's not recommended by USAA. As we saw earlier during the calculator demo, Social Security benefits could be reduced by up to 30% if claimed early. Another strategy is to claim early and continue working. Again, not generally recommended by USAA. If you don't need the income, don't take it. Before retirement age, there are limits to how much you can earn before your benefit is impacted. However, this strategy could be an option if you plan to continue to work on a limited or part-time basis. And lastly, delay claiming and continue working. Now, in this strategy, if you're going to delay claiming, we would suggest holding off to at least your full retirement age to claim. The drawback is you're reducing the number of years you have available in retirement. The takeaway is, as you've seen in all of these different scenarios, your claiming strategy is very dependent upon your unique circumstances and priorities. That's why we would recommend that members focus on, what is their life expectancy? Because that can have a huge impact on the best strategy for you. And if you're in a married situation or living in a long-term relationship, it can have an impact not only on you, but also your spouse or partner. We recommend planning for different scenarios. Since life expectancy is increasing, it's increasingly important to make sure you don't outlive your savings. Next, you should pick a claiming strategy that's best for you. Every person and situation is different, including your health, your family's health, and your other needs. You know yourself best, so make sure you're comfortable with this claiming strategy you select. As we've stated before, it's generally better for the higher earning spouse to delay receiving their benefits for as long as possible, up to age 70. Again, this is a rule of thumb. It may not make sense for everyone. However, if maximizing Social Security is your objective, then you should at least try to consider it. Deciding when to claim Social Security is an important and potentially complex decision. Therefore, it's important to seek out professional assistance to evaluate your options and see how they fit in your overall retirement strategy. Our retirement income specialists are here to help you. Cheryl, is there anything else that they should consider before retirement?
There is, Joe. And I think one of the common misconceptions is that Social Security and Medicare are kind of one and the same system. And so it's really important to realize that those are two different benefits that we enjoy. And if you are delaying Social Security, there could be a very strong need to continue to enroll in Medicare at 65. So Joe and his colleagues, they are experts and specialists in retirement income. They can help you with that retirement income planning. They are not necessarily dedicated experts in Medicare. However, we have a wonderful team. We have partners on our health solutions team that can help you make the right decisions about Medicare. And if you want to learn more, there's a QR code on the screen so that you can click on that and register for the upcoming Medicare Basics webinar. Mary, how can we reach out to someone like Joe and his team if we want help learning more about Social Security?
Fantastic, Cheryl. Well, we recognize that everyone's situation is unique, just as Joe said earlier, and we want to equip you with the information and the tools to help you evaluate your own retirement plan and make decisions that are specific to your goals. So our team is here to help you with that and factoring in all that goes into your plan and making those decisions wherever you might be on your retirement journey. If you would like to speak to one of our retirement income specialists, there's a lot of Joes on our team that are just as talented and just as fantastic. You can give us a call on the number that is shown there on the screen. Or if you prefer, I know it's easier for me, you can schedule a call at a time that's convenient for you as well. And you can do that by scanning the QR code that you see here as well. And then if you're ready tonight and you want to talk to someone tonight, we actually have teammates that are standing by ready for your calls this evening. We'll be here until 8 p.m. Central Time. And then lastly, we encourage you to go to our website and schedule a call with one of our specialists. And you can also learn more about annuities and retirement income planning on our website, which is usaa.com/retirement. And there you can find materials to help you prepare for your call, to develop your retirement income strategy, as well as the wonderful tool that Cheryl walked us through earlier. Okay, it is time for some Q&A. I saw a lot of activity on the Q&A threads going around, so I know there's a lot of questions in everyone's minds. Please type your questions into that Q&A section on your screen. We are monitoring it. We're responding to them as we go, and we're going to respond to as many as we can. And for those questions that we're not able to cover in today's sessions, we encourage you to reach out to one of our specialists who will definitely be able to answer that for you. Okay, Thomas, would you start by sharing a question that's already been submitted?
Absolutely. All right, one of the questions we hear all the time is around spousal benefits. So Joe, we'll start with you, sir. Can my spouse claim the spousal benefit if they did not pay in to Social Security?
Yes, they are able to claim based upon the spouse that does have an earnings history. There are certainly a lot of factors that can impact what that benefit amount would be. So what we would suggest is, give us a call. That way we can go over the details with them and help them understand, what that benefit might be and what the best claiming strategy will be for them.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Cheryl, we'll go over to you for a question. I plan to retire at 63. However, my full retirement age is 67. So they're considering withdrawing from a retirement plan. How does the dynamic between withdrawals from retirement plans and other income factor into your Social Security benefits?
All right. So outside of the fact that if you take it before your full retirement age, there will be a reduction of benefits. Anything that you take from withdrawals from your portfolio are not going to impact your Social Security benefit amount. What can impact it is if you are working prior to your full retirement age and you exceed a threshold, that can start to reduce the benefits. That amount changes each and every year, but for 2024, it's $1 is withheld for every $2 earned above $22,320.
Perfect. Thank you for that. All right, Joe, we'll come to you for a question. So it's kind of a bit of a follow-on to Cheryl's. So specific to our membership in the military community, if you have a military pension, how does that relationship work with Social Security benefits?
Generally, your military pension is something that someone receives, when they retire or separate from the military. I'll leave the reserves out for the simplicity of tonight's discussion. That military benefit will continue for the life of the service member or retiree. And if they've selected the spousal survivor benefit, a benefit will continue on to them. Those benefits are separate from Social Security. So again, the Social Security benefit is based upon their earned income while they were working. So they can complement each other in retirement and help people build a very nice, comfortable retirement nest egg. But we certainly would encourage, to look at all the different sources of secure income that I had mentioned early and see how that helps people develop a Social Security claiming strategy that's going to be best for them.
Perfect. Thank you for that. All right, Cheryl, let's talk about the Social Security calculator a little bit more in depth. So could you share what inputs does the calculator take into account, and does the calculator take into consideration money that you would have received from, age 62 to your max retirement age?
Great question. So it's a fairly simple calculator in terms of what you have to input, but there's a lot of complexity behind the scenes. And so it is going to provide that estimate based on what you've entered as your employment income. And then as you move that slider bar, if you're starting at 62 or you're starting at 67 or you're living a little bit longer, all of those inputs, it will take every factor into consideration to come up with your total lifetime benefit. So yes, it would take into consideration benefits that you received in between 62 or 63 and your full retirement age as it's seeking to optimize your total lifetime benefits. And one thing, Thomas, that I do want to share is Mary, said that, hey, this is a brand new tool, right? We've just introduced that within the last month, and it is available on our desktop version of USAA.com. It's also available if you log into USAA.com on your tablet or on your phone. But if you're using your USAA app, which I know I use mine probably every single day, it is not yet there. I can use the calculator on my phone, but I have to go directly to USAA.com in order to find that calculator. Stay tuned. It will be on the app later this year, but it's just not there quite yet.
Awesome. Thank you for that. All right, Joe, we'll go back to you for another spousal question for Social Security claiming. Could you speak a little bit more about the dynamics about ex-spouses and how they impact your claimings? Got a lot of questions on that.
One of the things that people sometimes misunderstand about Social Security is they are possibly able to claim Social Security based upon a ex-spouse's earnings history. Now, needless to say, there's a lot of very technical aspects as far as how long they were married, have they remarried, and details such as that. So I would suggest that they begin doing some research on www.ssa.gov. That's the Social Security government website. They'll need to have some specific information about their ex-spouse, how long they were married, what their earnings history is, but they can at least get an estimate by going to there to find out what their potential benefit would be. Now, not surprisingly, the Social Security Administration is not going to let someone double dip. It becomes an either or type of situation based upon which is the higher benefit. But certainly it's worth looking into. And if they have more questions, give us a call and we'd be happy to elaborate.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Joe.
Okay, Thomas, I think we have time for one last question.
Okay, perfect. All right, Joe, we'll go to you for the last question here, specific to our annuities. Could you provide more information on our single premium immediate annuity? Tell more about that. Like, how does that help with the Social Security income gap planning?
Right. So a single premium immediate annuity is where you create your own, I like to describe it as your own personal pension. A deposit is made into the contract, and there's a variety of ways that we can structure that income stream depending upon what the member's needs are. It can be for a specific number of years, it could be for their life, or it could be for some combination of the two to ensure that if something happened to the annuitant prematurely, that residual income will continue going to their beneficiaries. We could even structure it with a joint annuitant. So, it really is a very customizable tool to help meet the needs to close retirement income gaps that our members sometimes face.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Joe and Cheryl. Lots of great information. Okay, that's all the time that we have for questions today. If we didn't get to your question, we may be in touch by email to follow up on that and get you an answer. As a reminder, you can always reach out to us using the 800 number that was shown earlier or using the schedule a call link. All the resources that we've discussed today are available by clicking resources in your Zoom webinar toolbar. And you can download the webinar slides in there and click a list of those or review a list of those clickable links as well. And then just as a reminder, this webinar is was recorded and will be emailed to all registrants as well. So thank you all for spending some of your valuable time with us today. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.